Many MIL and DIL issues arise from the MIL being too harsh on the DIL. But sometimes, it's the nice MIL and the mean DIL combination. I'm Olivia. I'm a typical housewife in my 40s, recently concerned about my dry skin and feeling lost in choosing the right cosmetics. I've been married to Liam for 15 years, and despite some minor misunderstandings, we have a peaceful relationship without major conflicts. Our daughter, Ava, just started middle school this spring and is very enthusiastic about her club activities. Though she's going through a rebellious phase, using rough language and often retreating to her room, we know she's fundamentally kind and empathetic, so Liam and I just quietly support her. Our son, James, is a game-loving 9-year-old. He used to be sickly when he was in kindergarten, but now he's a healthy kid who even goes to school in short sleeves during winter, like a child from the old days. In our pretty ordinary family, I've been living a reasonably happy life. However, since the kids are more independent now, I increased my part-time work, which unexpectedly drained my energy, resulting in more shortcut meals, a minor worry for me. That's about the extent of my worries. My parents live far away, but Liam's parents are only about a 20-minute drive away. So, after having kids, we often relied on his parents. Liam's father was a traditional, stubborn man, but doted on his grandkids, always preparing plenty of treats for them. His mother, who had always been beside him, was gentle, but meticulously kept the house in order, always bustling around with a smile. So, visiting them wasn't a chore, and I was grateful for the warm welcome they gave our children. This routine continued until Liam's father passed away 3 years ago. After 2 years of battling illness, the funeral was sad but had a somewhat peaceful atmosphere. Still, Liam and my MIL were deeply saddened, so I supported them as much as possible. The question of who would take care of my MIL came up. Liam's older brother, Noah, and his wife, Emma, volunteered. The condition was that Noah would inherit the family home. Emma was very focused on education and wanted to live close to the station for the convenience of their 10-year-old daughter, Mia, attending a private school. Although my MIL was a kind person, I worried that living under the same roof together might create stress. However, the decision had already been made between Liam and Noah, so I had no say in the matter. After the funeral, Noah's family and my MIL started living in my MIL's house. I was right. 3 years later, the relationship between my MIL and Emma had significantly deteriorated. I brought some apples from my parents' place. Oh my, thank you. One autumn day, I visited my MIL's house and handed a paper bag filled with apples to my MIL at the entrance. She peeked inside the bag with a smile. Such a fresh, pleasant smell. I look forward to these every year. I must call your mother to thank her. My mom loves the oranges you send too. I'm glad to hear that. It makes giving them worthwhile. She laughed elegantly with her hand over her mouth. I can't laugh like that. I still laugh with my mouth wide open and clap my hands, a habit I can't break. I admire her graceful manners. The kids are growing up, and with my part-time job and housework, it's been since the summer holiday that I last saw her. I wanted to catch up on the kid growth and our recent news, but someone interrupted my thoughts. Hey, talking at the entrance is bothering the neighbors. Olivia, if you're done, please leave. Emma. It was Emma, my SIL. She poked her head out from the living room, frowning and not hiding her displeasure. All right. Sorry, Olivia. I'll enjoy the apples. No. Feeling apologetic, my MIL closed the door. I could only stare at the closing door, holding back the things I wanted to say. Emma is still so cold to my MIL. It pains me to watch. I see. That night, I complained to Liam about what happened at the in-laws'. Liam sighed deeply, clearly troubled. The exchange earlier wasn't unusual. For the first 6 months after they started living together, Emma seemed to be holding back, and there weren't many clashes with my MIL. But last year, when Mia started 6th grade and the exam prep intensified, Emma's attitude towards my MIL worsened. Even Mia, probably stressed out, began taking it out on my MIL. Seeing these women act out, Noah seemed to be avoiding the situation by working late and taking on extra shifts. When Mia passed her first choice middle school entrance exam this spring, I thought Emma might calm down. But instead, she spent more time at home since she no longer had to accompany Mia to school and tutoring, and it felt like she was treating my Mill more like a nuisance. Mill can be a bit of a busybody, so living together might be challenging. But treating her like that is too much. Yeah. Liam's already sparse words became even fewer when it came to talking about his family. Despite the advantages Noah and Emma had, Liam couldn't badmouth them since they were taking care of my Mill. Yes, I worried about my Mill, but any move we made might worsen her position. So, Liam and I usually kept quiet. But then, the situation changed suddenly. Or maybe it was planned by Noah and Emma all along. One weekend, Noah unusually came over, saying he needed to talk. Feeling uneasy, I sent the kids to their room and brought him to the living room. I was going to leave to give them privacy, but Noah asked me to stay. Noah, looking visibly troubled, spoke gravely. You know Emma and Mom aren't getting along, right? Well, yes, that's right. Liam and I gave vague answers. It wasn't just that they didn't get along. It felt like Emma was the one treating my Mill poorly. Noah, not understanding our reaction, nodded solemnly. It's causing Emma a lot of stress, and it's becoming a problem. I see. So that's how it's going to be. I thought my Mill looked much worse though. As Emma's husband, I want to put her first. I see. That's noble. Standing up for his wife, a model husband. Even though it seemed he had been avoiding the situation until now. So, we decided that Mom needs to move out. What? Liam and I both yelled in disbelief at Noah's unbelievable statement. Kick her out? Instead of Noah and Emma leaving? No way, no way, no way. Why should Mom be the one to leave? Even Liam, usually so calm, raised his voice. Despite Liam pushing back, Noah continued with his selfish arguments. Emma is crying and saying she can't live with Mom anymore. Then you guys should be the ones to leave. We can't. Do you know how much Mia's tuition costs? Private school is really expensive. It's obvious that private school is expensive. Didn't you factor that in when you decided on the middle school? Well, Emma said Mia won't get into a good college without going to a private middle school. That's all your problem. It doesn't justify making Mom leave the house. What an irresponsible couple. Standing next to the furious Liam, I was just amazed. But then, Noah dropped a bombshell. But, you know, the house is in my name. The heated atmosphere instantly froze. That was on the condition that you'd take care of Mom, right? Liam asked in a trembling voice. Noah, half smiling as if he had just played his trump card, replied, Yeah, but things change, right? Reality is different from ideals. Why are you talking like this is someone else's problem? It can't be helped. Emma loves that house and doesn't want to leave. And we need money to get Mia into a good college. So he did have a plan all along. From the beginning, they intended to kick my Mill out if things didn't go well. I even suspect Emma planned this from the start. You are despicable. I threw the words at Noah with all the contempt I could muster. With a twisted smile, Noah looked down at me with cold eyes. If you and Liam tried living with her, you'd understand. But don't worry, we won't push Mom onto you. Still, I want you to help her find an apartment and move. Even after the devilish Noah left, we were still stunned. The kids, sensing something was off, uncharacteristically offered to help with the dishes and shared their chocolate with us. Their kindness brought a mix of guilt and comfort as I thought about my Mill's future. 3 days later, Liam apologized to me. I already knew why. After all, we've been married for over 10 years. Olivia, I know it's asking a lot, but I need your help, okay? I want to take Mom in. I see. My brother and Emma are terrible, but I can't fully understand their situation. Mom might have her own faults, but I can't just abandon her after she's been thrown out like this. I'll do anything I can. So, you said anything? Huh? I gave Liam a defiant smile as he looked up. You'll do anything, right? Why, yes. For life? F for life. Liam's eyes darted around. His honesty was one of the things I loved about him. He wouldn't make promises he wasn't sure he could keep. Liam, if you make promises you can't keep, you're no better than Noah. All right, I'm sorry. So, let's only promise what we can do together with my Mill. I smiled at him, meeting his eyes. Liam's face scrunched up, and he bowed his head repeatedly. Olivia, thank you so much. I've received so much help from my mill. Now it's our turn. There were no guarantees it would work out, but I liked Mill too much to just leave her to be thrown out. A month after we made up our minds, Liam and I went to pick up my Mill. You're so noble. There's nothing to gain by sucking up to her. Emma's whisper in my ear as we left was something I'd never forget, standing anxiously at our doorstep. My Mill looked so small, even smaller than her petite frame. I wanted to comfort her with sweet words, but we needed more than just temporary kindness to live peacefully together. Take your time unpacking. Let's have some coffee in the living room. Then we'll have a family meeting. Family meeting? We're going to set some family rules to make sure we function well as a family. Yes, I decided that we needed clear family rules to welcome my Mill. Not rules I would decide alone. We would all discuss and agree on them together. Of course, we couldn't be too demanding. It would need to be reasonable for everyone. I thought they might be hesitant, but everyone was surprisingly on board, maybe because they felt their own wishes might be heard. No entering rooms without permission. Ava's request was agreed upon, provided she cleaned her room herself. Don't eat food with someone's name on it. My request was met with a sheepish grin from Liam, who had a history of eating my cake without asking. 10 hours of gaming a day. James's unrealistic suggestion was immediately shot down with questions about when he'd sleep. Finally, we asked my Mill. I'd like everyone to have breakfast together on weekends, and I'll prepare it. Her earnest request was unanimously approved. After setting a few more rules, our life with my Mill began. Still, my heart was full of anxiety. But I quickly realized my worries were unfounded. It seemed our family and my Mill were a good match, because my Mill was very supportive. When I got home from my part-time job, the house was clean and the laundry was neatly folded. I only had to help a bit with the dinner my Mill prepped during the day, and we quickly had a delicious meal ready. The planters and pots, once overgrown with weeds, were now blooming with round flowers of globe amaranth. Her work was so elegant and vibrant. How do you finish everything so early? I asked, feeling a bit silly. My Mill charmingly smiled and put her finger to her lips, saying, "That's a secret. The relationships I was most worried about turned out to be fine. In fact, they were more peaceful than before. It seems that listening to the kids' opinions when setting the rules was a good idea." We learned what bothered Ava during her rebellious phase, and James understood the importance of following rules. We held meetings every 3 months, but if there was something someone couldn't stand, we had an emergency meeting to discuss it as a family. It was helpful that my Mill gently mediated when Liam and I sometimes said too much. Thanks to that, we understood each other better than before my Mill moved in. Moreover, my Mill's rule that everyone has breakfast together on weekends was very effective. She would prepare an amazing breakfast, baking bread from scratch. The kids, who usually slept in on weekends, were drawn to the table by the rules and the delicious food. Gradually, Ava started helping with baking, and James began running with Liam in the early mornings. Eventually, we started having breakfast together on weekdays too, naturally increasing our conversations with the kids. There were other changes as well, but living with my Mill definitely became a positive thing for us. Of course, we still had to be considerate of each other, and there were times we were puzzled by our different values, but we had enough room in our hearts to slowly adjust. We thought the move had brought peace to both families. However, Noah's family wasn't doing well. Initially, Emma was pleased with the newfound freedom, and Noah, no longer caught in the middle, came straight home from work. But after about 3 months, things started going south. Firstly, Mia's tuition and commuting expenses were a bigger burden than expected. Emma had to start a part-time job, but she struggled because she hadn't worked at all since giving birth 13 years ago. Their big house with a large yard required a lot of time and effort to clean. Emma, overwhelmed with her part-time job, couldn't keep up with the housework, and the inside and outside of the house fell into disarray. As the house fell into disarray, so did Mia. It turned out Mia hadn't wanted to take the entrance exam for the private middle school. She had been persuaded by Emma and reluctantly took the exam. She passed, showing she was really smart, but commuting an hour each way and studying at a school with no friends was tough. And whenever her grades slipped or she slacked off, her mother scolded her, and her father just went along with it. Eventually, Mia realized the kindness of my Mill, who had always made her snacks and showed concern for her, instead of her strict mother and compliant father. Though she should have realized it sooner, it's understandable since she's just a kid. Now, Mia resents her parents for kicking out my Mill and treats them harshly. Noah and Emma are having a hard time dealing with her. "So could you take Mom back?" Noah's message about his family's mess and Emma's absurd demand left me stunned. "What do you mean, so?" Liam, his face expressionless with a mix of anger and disbelief, spoke for both of us. I probably had the same expression on my face. "Because we're in trouble. Emma won't be able to keep working part-time, so we won't be able to pay the tuition. That's why you took the house from Mom. Why don't you help with the housework?" I can't. I'm too busy." "Really? You're working so much that you can't afford the rent? How low is your salary?" Ugh. Despite working a lot, he always seemed to be talking about money. As I wondered, an image of Emma with her brand-name bags and frequent spa visits flashed in my mind. It seemed Noah was trying to keep her happy with money. How foolish. We were making such a racket at the entrance that my Mill peeked out from the living room. I had told her she could stay hidden, but she was naturally concerned since it involved her. "Noah, you really are." My Mill's face was as expressionless as ours. Yet Noah cheerfully told her, Mom, you heard the conversation, right? Don't you want to go back to your own house? Emma says she's sorry, so please forgive her. And where is Emma?" Oh well, so Emma wasn't really planning to apologize, just wanted a convenient servant back. What a selfish, dependent couple they were. "I'm not going back, and I'm not lending you any money." Mom. Even Noah was shaken by my Mill's cold eyes, a look she had never shown before. We were amazed at his naive expectation that my Mill would agree. "But don't you feel sorry for Mia? She's been so sad and less smiley since you left. If things don't change, she might even drop out of the school she worked so hard to get into. That's for you, as her parents, to handle. It's your actions that caused this mess by not considering Mia's feelings. And using your own child as a bargaining chip is just too low." Finally, Noah seemed to realize there was no reasoning with my Mill. It wasn't that they had abandoned my Mill. My Mill had abandoned them. "Go home. Neither Mia nor I are your convenient tools." Defeated, Noah left, looking like a shell of his former self. Back in the living room, we praised my Mill's bravery, while the three kids looked up at us with anxious eyes. Ava and James, and Noah's daughter, Mia. "Grandma, I'm sorry. It's because of my parents." Mia looked like she was about to cry, and I felt so sorry for her. Holding her Mia's hand lovingly, my Mill smiled. "It's not your fault, Mia, and you already apologized to Grandma. Now, let's get back to cooking." Ava and James patted Mia's back as they resumed cooking. A few months ago, Mia had taken the train to our house to apologize to my Mill. Trembling, she had made a heartfelt apology in her own words, which was truly admirable. She was far more mature than her parents. My Mill accepted her apology, and Mia began visiting us to help my Mill with various tasks. So, Mia wouldn't be used as a pawn in their schemes. As I felt a wave of relief and a bit of smug satisfaction, I realized I was still far from being as graceful as my Mill. 10 years later, Ava is thriving in her career, and James is enjoying college life. They aren't in prestigious or high-paying positions, but they chose their own paths and worked hard to achieve their goals, making us proud as parents. Mia went on to a vocational school, despite fierce opposition from Noah and Emma after completing high school. During her time with my Mill, Mia seemed to realize what she truly wanted to do. She covered her tuition with part-time jobs and scholarships, and got a job in a company far enough away that she had to fly there. Despite not having to pay for Mia's tuition after high school, Noah and Emma were still in financial trouble. Apparently, Mia not growing up as Emma had hoped caused her significant stress. She coped by shopping excessively and neglecting housework. The house, once kept immaculate by my Mill, was now overflowing with clutter, even spilling outside, becoming a sight the neighbors avoided. Noah and Emma regularly begged my Mill or us for help, but of course, we never obliged. Emma never came herself, it was always Noah acting as their messenger. They had to deal with the consequences of their actions themselves. Now, with the kids gone, my Mill and I live together, maintaining a pleasant balance and enjoying our time. Liam, still feeling indebted to me, continues to treat me well, even as we celebrate our silver wedding anniversary. To outsiders, our daily life might seem ordinary, but our family is thriving, and I am incredibly happy.